Welcome to Insight and Influence, a podcast presented by C&G Strategies, bringing you insightful conversations from influential people, including government officials, industry leaders, and advocates from across the state.
Welcome to Inside Influence. I'm Rob Vescio. I am joined today by my co-host, Amy Downs.
Good afternoon. Sorry.
Whatever we are at this point. Today's episode is about politics in Pennsylvania. Joining us to discuss the Republican side is the chairman of the Pennsylvania State Republican Party, State Senator Greg Rothman. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You're pretty recent into this position, right? So how long have you been? When did you get elected again?
I was elected in February, so about 9 months.
Oh, so you had a 9-month crash course. Good for you, huh? Got thrown right into it, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, we obviously just had Election Day. Just trying to get your thoughts on, Election Day was not great for Republicans, but as chairman, what is your message coming out of election results?
Yeah, so it was not a good night, not a good day for us, but it's not unusual to have really bad responses to really good elections. So in 2024, just a year ago, Republicans won 5 statewide elections in Pennsylvania. We picked up 2 congressional seats. It was a pretty good night for Republicans. So, the voters have a way of telling us either, hey, they're happy with what's going on, so they stay home, or they were, Democrats were way more motivated to come out, and they came out. We don't have all the numbers yet, but it looks like, at least in areas that I was able to look at the actual numbers, Democratic turnout was 50%, Republican turnout was 30%.
Wow.
But our goal when I became chairman was to turn Pennsylvania into a permanently red state where like Ohio or Florida, where we only vote Republican. That's going to take a little more work. But I'm there is some relief that, we now know that going into the 26 campaign, which started 2 days ago, that we cannot be complacent. And we need to make sure our voters know how important it is to get out and vote. I mean, that's always the objective in a campaign is turnout, but even more so. I mean, we're sort of seeing a pattern of this. When President Trump's on the ballot, Republicans turn out in record numbers, and he helps a lot of other people get elected. When he's not on the ballot, but he's in office, Democrats turn out in presidential numbers. I mean, 50% is a huge number for Democrats.
It's huge, right? And that, I think what you're describing is even what happened when Obama came in and had his way, right? And then right after that, there was some turnaround. Republicans got some gain because do you get a sense of that? It's more about, and not just enthusiasm, but just like, we did that. We voted last year, this year. We don't see a need to come out.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about this nonstop since the election, right? I mean, I was thinking about it before the election. How do we motivate our base? The 2 biggest issues in Pennsylvania just a year ago, before the 2024 election, were illegal immigration and inflation. And through the president's efforts, there is virtually no illegal crossings and illegal immigration. I mean, there's now the other side of the issue, which is the ICE raids. And inflation has virtually gone away, but the prices are still high. And the prices are still too high. So there's affordability issues. So we've taken away as Republicans the 2 big issues that motivated people to go out and vote for President Trump. And yet we still have ways to go in solving the other parts of that problem, which are, how do we get prices down? And, how do we have an orderly society where, we figure out a way to deal with the people that came here illegally? I mean, we're not going to deport every one of them, and the effect that has on the economy too, because these people are working.
Senator, those turnout numbers are interesting to me because I think that, when you hear a 30% turnout or a 50% turnout in a municipal election, it's almost really unheard of. So obviously there were issues driving voters to the polls, but how do you capitalize on those to make sure that those numbers or higher are what we see at every election?
Yeah, so we actually, there were 120,000 more votes for our Republican judicial candidates in 2025 than there were in 2023. So we got Republicans to turn out in what is normally an odd year off-year election, right? So in that sense, we should be pleased. However, the Democrats' turnout was 500,000 more votes than they got in for. They won the 2023 election too. So I took a calculated risk. There was plenty of second guessing, but I thought that it was an easy decision that the Republican Party of Pennsylvania to look at 3 Democratic Supreme Court justices who are running for a 10-year retention. They would get a 10-year extension on their term, who had made rulings, we thought, egregious rulings against the Republican Party, and that we would make that an issue, that would excite our base and get our base to show up and vote. And in some sense it did, but it also motivated the Democrats to get out and vote, and it gave them another reason to vote. And so, look, this is, we're learning new things all the time. If I went back 9 months ago, I would have probably done the same thing. I would have probably sounded an alarm with our municipal. We saw it in that Senate race in Lancaster, where Democrat turnout was through the roof and Republicans wasn't. But we knew that. We've been telling people, hey, look, you got to get out and vote. If you don't vote, we lose. And so we need to do a better job as a Republican Party, letting our voters know how important it is to vote. And then I think, we probably got a message sent to us that the people are unhappy with, they're just sending a message that, Republicans, when we win, then, just like Rob, you mentioned, Obama won in 2008. I remember having friends saying, oh my goodness, we'll never win another election again.
Right.
And there is something, John McCain was a Republican war hero, an icon.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Immediate darling until he ran against Obama, right?
Mr. Maverick, relatively unknown Barack Obama, who had been a state senator 2 years before he became the nominee, ends up beating him. And there were people who thought there's no formula that the Republicans can ever win an election again. We hadn't won Pennsylvania in a presidential election since 1988.
What was also amazing is you guys, the registration drive, like Republicans were closing the gap on Democrats recently.
We are. Yeah. And we're going to keep working on that. And, when I ran the first time in 2015, there were 922,000 more Democrats registered to vote than Republican. It's now 170,000. Mm-hmm. And I expect the trend to continue. And by next year at this time, there'll be an equal number. And next year at this time, you'll say, wow, Greg, you're a genius. We won all the elections.
Well, we look forward to having you next year. We can have a recap, right?
When you lose, you're no one takes credit for it, but
right, exactly. It's always the what everybody knows when you lose, like who you're going to blame, but when you win, everyone's out there.
I finally figured out. I spoke to a group of students at University of Pennsylvania this morning, graduate students at Fells, and I told them, when an operative or a campaign manager, or when you lose, you generally blame the candidate. And in the case of the retention, I had 3 horrible candidates, like the most no, Mrs. No, and Miss No. And for my personality as someone who's such an optimist, I have to tell people to vote no. I want to vote yes, right? So I realized I just had really bad candidates in those races.
You talked a few minutes ago about trends. I'm curious, when you're looking at what happened across the country, if there are specific trends that you see that the party might be able to capitalize on moving forward. And I know that Rob wants to get into what does this mean for next year too, but maybe that's the way to sort of segue from one to the other.
Well, remember, Virginia, the Democratic gubernatorial candidate who won by 600,000 more votes than Trump had won by. Remember, Trump had not won Virginia, but he had lost by less than 600,000 votes. Jack Ciattarelli in New Jersey, who we actually thought was going to become the next governor of New Jersey, won by 1 or 2 points, 3 points last time, 4 years ago, lost by 15, 16 points. So the trends give us a little bit of solace that it wasn't just Pennsylvania. But we lost seats in statewide elections in Georgia for the first time ever. We lost elections in Mississippi. We did win a New Hampshire special election. I think there was a congressional seat, but I think the trends are what you are to historically expect, that when you're out of office, you have bad off-year elections, and we got to work harder.
The other thing that came out of this election is there's going to be 4 special elections now in the state house. And so we have a Pennsylvania state house, which is a 1-seat majority for the Democrats. Now it appears that it's those races. I don't know how that they're going to be competitive or not, but there's 2 Republicans and now 2 Democrats that they need to be replaced on the special for next year.
Yeah, and this with a 1-seat majority, that's always going to be that's every race is going to count.
So let's start talking about next year then. All right, we're done with this year. Next year is another election year, which is a big one here in Pennsylvania. We have, of course, an entire congressional delegation's up, but then Governor Shapiro is up for re-election. And then we have half the state Senate and half the state House. So I guess let's start with the congressional races. Are there opportunities there, or what do you see next year?
Yeah, I think it's about defense, right? I mean, we flipped 2 seats that had long been held by Democrats with Ryan McKenzie in Lehigh Valley and Rob Bresnahan up in the Scranton area, the Northeast. We have to keep those seats, and those are the 2 seats that gave the House of Representatives the Republicans the majority and made Mike Johnson Speaker. So we have to protect those. That's where I see, our priorities, is to make sure that when we want to get every vote out, but we really have to protect those 2.
And then now we're going to Governor Shapiro. So we have Stacey Garrity, who's been the first announced candidate, right?
Well, and one of my objectives and goals we had as a party was to recruit a really good candidate. We wanted to recruit the best possible candidate to run against Josh Shapiro. We picked in Stacey Garrity a candidate that no one thought there was anybody better. I mean, that's everybody who I talked to said this is who we want, and we almost unanimously endorsed her, which is unheard of. We endorsed her in September to give her a head start. The party is united behind her, which will help her raise money and not have to have an expensive primary. And I think that what makes her special is that she has done this before. She upset Joe Torricella, was outspent 11-1. He was a popular treasurer, and she was able to win that election. So with her experience in the military, her decorated military career, and her experience in the private sector, and remember, in 2024, she got more votes than anybody statewide in Pennsylvania history, including Josh Shapiro. So, that's our objective, is now to make sure that we beat Josh Shapiro, who is certainly an exceptional politician, but is focused, as you can tell, he's got his eye on Pennsylvania Avenue as well.
What do you think are some of the big issues that are going to be coming up in the governor's race that makes Stacey Garrity such the best candidate for that role?
Yeah, I still think the same issues that we just saw on Tuesday. Affordability is an issue. Government, and now all of a sudden, the people that are frustrated that we don't have a budget and that there's a government shutdown are going to be looking at the person in office, meaning Josh Shapiro, and saying, well, what did you do to end the impasse? Governor Shapiro has made getting stuff done a big issue in his, his mantra. So people are going to start saying, well, what have you gotten done? I mean, we're seeing tax revenues go down. We're seeing people leave our state. We're seeing businesses leave our state. And so how do we, he's going to have had 4 years, and we're going to look back and say, well, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And, the answer is, we need to do something different. In my calculation, I think we figured out there have been 20 budgets in the last, last 20 years. 4 of them been on time. They were all done by Republican Governor Tom Corbett. These late budgets is not right. I mean, it's very frustrating as someone who spent my whole life on deadlines and getting stuff done. You had a settlement, you had it. You didn't say, oh, we're gonna wait a few months. I mean, we need to get these budgets done on time, and we need leadership to do that. And so, I think that's going to be an issue. And it's, where are we? We have a governor who has, I think, a dozen times now sued the Trump administration, and in several cases, this is in most of the cases, I think, he's criticizing the president and not working with him. And Donald Trump won Pennsylvania. He's our president. So we want our governor to work with the president, not impede him.
So Pennsylvania is a purple state, as we all know. Again, we have a Democratic governor. We have a Democratic state house run. So next year's election in the state Senate, which is, you're a member of that caucus, which is the state Senate Republicans, they have a majority. There's some races that are going to be pretty critical for you guys to maintain, right? Is there opportunities for pickups? Like, what do you see in terms of the Senate Republicans and their ability to not only maintain the majority, but also potentially pick up seats?
Yeah, I mean, clearly the Lancaster Senate seat, which where our voters just didn't come out like they did, is an opportunity to pick up. There are a couple other ones too that, it's a little early to see who ends up retiring. We've got a great team with Senator Chris Gephardt and our leadership. They'll be monitoring those things, and we as a party will be there working hand in hand with them, which is a nice change too, that we can work. Me being in this position where I serve as a senator and also party chairman, I have a little better access to what they're up to, so we can complement them and work together. And also HRCC and making sure we win back that one more seat, at least one more seat. So I'll let them decide which ones are opportunities, and we'll just be there.
Historically, it seems like we are a ticket splitting state. So it's amazing because even if you had somebody at the top that's strong or, competitive, that it appears, and we've seen this in the past, that the state Senate and House are kind of immune to a lot of these types of down ballot issues that other states have.
We've got good candidates who work hard and are out doing their jobs, and that will help them.
Yeah. State House, again, 102, 101, we kind of touched upon it with 4 special elections to start off 2026. So then those special elections will lead into full re-elections of the same candidates. So, same thing. See an opportunity to pick up the House?
Yeah, so let's go through them. Tornacker, I know the 2 Republicans.
Dan Miller in Allegheny County. There was another one. I'm trying to think. Wow, I lose out there. I think it was a county exec seat or something. There was somebody else who ran.
In Lehigh County.
Lehigh County, I think it was. So I think they're tough. They're all 4, I believe, are like the parties that currently control likely will keep their seats from what we're seeing. But unless something changes, it seems like that's what it's going to happen. But those are the first ones. But then getting back to the other question, just, that still keeps it at 102, 101. Is there an opportunity for, leader Jesse Topper to take the majority?
Speaker Topper.
Well, he's leader now, but it's next year, right? That's 2027, right?
So there are, historically, there's always something that happens. I mean, sometimes tragic, someone dies in office. Sometimes someone gets in trouble. I've seen Democrats, be indicted in the middle of terms. Some people just have an opportunity to go do something else. I ended up in the House of Representatives because Glenn Grell left to go to Peasers, right? So
that's right.
That was in June, in the middle of an odd year. So there is a likelihood of someone, a seat being open, and we just have to be, as a party, prepared to fight for every seat. And so anything can happen, and you just have to be prepared for it. That's what's exciting about this world.
Yeah, and I think for the challenges, right? Because what's happening nationally, internationally, and then the impacts it has on you and your role as the chairman, and obviously also as a state senator, it's tough. And currently, as we're standing, as this will air, there will not be a federal nor state budget still when this actually airs. So we're still going to, so we'll be close, right? It's close though. We're getting there.
When will this air? That may
It'll
not.
be on Veterans Day.
So Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day, by the way, for all the veterans that are out there.
So it's our 250th birthday on Monday too. So
Oh, okay. So so this will air on Veterans Day. So it'll be hopefully close at that point. Maybe you'll be voting that evening or the next day if we're have the fingers crossed. So we're predicting more of a state one versus a federal one. How about that? You guys will beat the feds.
yeah. All right. Well, let both end as quickly as possible. So
Well, I mean, appreciate what you see in terms of the future and currently what's happening here in Pennsylvania. For those that are listening, we will give balanced time to the Democratic side. We are going to bring on Eugene D. Pasquale, the chairman of the Pennsylvania State Democratic Party, on our next episode. So it'll be interesting to see what his insights are, correct?
Exactly. Well, before we leave, let me ask this one. I'm a big fan of threes. So anybody watching us, what three big things would you like them to know or remember about the party and what you're planning to do this coming year?
yeah, I mean, look, in Pennsylvania, we're the loyal opposition. That means that we're going to keep the governor. We're going to keep him accountable and hold him accountable. But we also want Pennsylvania to succeed. We want Pennsylvania to be an economic boom. We want to see, growth and opportunity in Pennsylvania. And so if it happens under his watch, I'm okay with that. Secondly, we're proud of our history. I mean, the Republican Party was founded, the modern Republican Party was founded on the issue of slavery and stopping slavery. It was an anti-slavery movement, which means it was for freedom. And we're going to always be the party that advocates for freedom. And then finally, there's an old adage in sales that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think we need to do a better job in making sure that people know we care. And it's, we're not the party that gives things away, but don't, as a parent, right, that doesn't translate that I don't care. It's just that we do understand that people sometimes need those safety nets. So we need to be a party that, is trying to lift people up. And we need to be the optimistic party, which is why the no was failed so badly.
So last thing I'll ask before we wrap up here, if people want to learn more about the party and what your issues and candidates and all those good things are, where should they go for information?
Website, www.pagop.org. And so follow us at PAGOP on X.
Well, we really appreciate it. I know this was a busy day. We understand. We do appreciate you taking time out. We do wish you luck. Let's get a budget time. And, any final thoughts from you, Senator?
Just thanks for having me, and thanks to your listeners. This is the greatest state and the greatest country in the history of the world because it's a government of, for, and by the people. And so being informed is a big deal, and we appreciate it. So thank you for all you guys do to advocate on behalf of your clients and get the information out so people can make informed decisions. So
We try to be balanced, so we're going to try to do both sides, but we appreciate your time. And to those out there, happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day. And thank you, Senator.
thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Insight and Influence. To learn more about C&G strategies and to access previous editions, visit our website at cgstrategiespa.com.